We have used rotating arrow of trigonometry to understand angles. We then talked about how the arc it subtends is proportional to its length and its angular position. We also talked about the two independent directions and the components of the arrow on these two directions. Did you know the rotating arrow of trigonometry is in fact a vector?
How?
It has length and direction. What else do you need?
How is that important, it being a vector?
Because vector can be broken into components. This vector has positive x and positive y component, whereas this has positive x but negative y component. We will soon see its importance. Understanding how to break a vector into its component is very important because it greatly simplifies the problem. We also know that the component of a vector should be proportional to the magnitude of vector and also be related to the orientation of the vector. So, if you talk of a vector, just by knowing the length of vector and its angle, we should know an easy way to find its x and y component. For the need of this, we invent two new functions, sine and cos, for an angle and multiply it with a magnitude of vector to get its x and y component.
How does this work?
Let's assume x component is function of length of the vector and the angle. If we zoom in a vector, all its length and components increase proportionally, but the angle remains same. This clearly shows that the components are directly related to length of the vector, keeping the angle constant. Hence, we can replace this function with length of this vector, and as this second function is related to angle, we just call it cos theta. Similarly, the y component becomes length of the vector into sine theta. Just remember that sine theta is ratio of y component of a vector by the length of the vector for a given angle theta, and so for cos theta.
Okay, but now it sounds more like a vector than trigo. Are we still learning trigonometry?
Yes, we are. We just need to do a slight alteration in our approach. We superimpose the vector and its component with a right angled triangle. The y component becomes perpendicular height, the x component becomes base, and the vector itself becomes the hypotenuse. And so accordingly we define our sine and cos.
Well, this was easy.
But this is not all. Now that we have a triangle, we invented more trigonometric functions relating these anatomy of a triangles like P, B and H and the base of the angle. We will also use our previous knowledge of Pythagoras theorem to find more relation between these new functions. Let's hear from our maths master to know more about them. Our next task will be to convert any trigonometric function into any other trigonometric function. For example, if you have a function like this and we want to convert all its term in form of sec theta. To do this, we will take an example triangle. We know sec theta is h by b. We simply make the denominator as 1 and so the hypotenuse becomes sec theta. Using Pythagoras we can find p also. Now that we have all the sides of the triangle, we can find all its trigonometric function in the form of sec theta and simply plug in the values of each term.